Hello guys, I'd like to talk about headcanons, specifically, headcanons of characters being their opposite gender. I don't have any problems if you headcanon a character, their opposite, as I do it myself. Example, Arndt as Empfef. The reason I am talking about this because one of my friends called it weird and problematic. Not gonna say who since I don't want anyone to attack or harass them. They also tagged me in a post saying that trans women are uncomfortable with people headcanning cis males as trans femme. Not all trans women feel the same. Some of them mostly do the same thing. And let me now talk about the Tato fans. Some of these Tato fans only know about Tato because of Mesmerizer, and they'll attack anyone for headcanning her male. Here's some photos of the toxic Tato fans. Credits to my online father for these screenshots. They got mad because of someone making Tato male when they didn't at all. And now let me talk about the differences between trans femme or trans masc and trans female or trans male. The reason why I'm saying this is, some people thinks trans femme is short for trans female. Same thing, for trans masc. They aren't short versions of trans female and trans male. Transgender is an umbrella term for anyone whose internal experience of gender does not always solely and completely match the sex they were assigned at birth. Normally based on primary and secondary sex characteristics, transgender people may experience discomfort or distress due to their gender not aligning with their sex, and therefore wish to transition to being the gender they identify with. Some transgender people feel this way from a very young age, while others go through a period of questioning before realizing they are transgender. Transgender people can be any gender. They can have any sexual orientation, express their gender through their appearance in any way, and may or may not fit into society's views of gender. People whose sex corresponds to their gender identity are referred. Now I'll explain how trans femme and trans masc are different from transgender. Sometimes written as trans feminine or trans feminine, all of which are generally considered acceptable. This term is used, often by amab trans people, but not exclusively, to express a relationship to femininity or femaleness, but who may not have a completely female identity. Trans feminine is sometimes used as a direct stand-in for amab trans people as a whole, but not all amab trans people identify as feminine, and not all trans feminine people were amab. So while this is relatively common, it's not necessarily the best way to use this term. Trans feminine people may or may not transition physically, legally, or socially. Categorically, trans feminine people are considered under the transgender umbrella, but may or may not identify with that or other terms individually. Those decisions are based on their understanding of their relationship with gender and their access to transitioning within their culture. Transmasculine, often abbreviated to transmasc, is a term used to describe transgender and/or non-binary people who have a gender identity that is predominantly masculine. Transmasculine people may or may not identify as male. Another definition refers to transgender people who were assigned female at birth and whose genders are mainly or completely masculine, though people who are assigned male at birth or intersex can be transmasculine as well. In the case of amab individuals, the majority of amab trans mascs are intersex and/or have genders that are partially male and partially not. For example, an amab intersex man can be transmasculine. And now, lastly, let me say this. Let people headcanon what they want, as long as it's not harmful to anyone.